So one of the really fun things lately has been the opportunity we've had to reformat the evening service at Commons and bring back a question and response period at the end of the sermon. It's just really interesting to get to engage with some of the thoughts that are emerging in people's minds as they listen. And a couple of weeks ago, there was a question about the holiness of God as it relates to the anger and the wrath of God, something that we had been talking about here at Commons. And I had a chance to respond in the moment, but I also had a chance to sit with that and formulate a bit of my thoughts around the difference between human and divine anger. That's a distinction that James makes in the New Testament. So take a look at this clip, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear how you think about that distinction in your world, in your mind, in your faith, as you wrestle through some of these ideas. One of the things that we sometimes have to work quite hard to shake from our imagination is this base idea that God is somehow mad at us. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that God does not get angry. The scriptures are full of God's anger, but what happens is that because we're not good at understanding our own emotions, I think we sometimes map all that confusion onto God. I like the way James talks about it in the New Testament. He says, human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. What does he mean by that? What's the difference between human and divine anger? I would say it's precision. Bobby pointed this out last week, that when you look closely at the book of Romans, a book that is famously heavy on the wrath talk, you can see the particularity with which Paul writes. The wrath of God is being revealed against you and me? No. Sinners? No. Insert particular people group that makes you uncomfortable? No. It is being revealed from heaven against the godlessness and wickedness of the world. So God is mad at everything that hurts God's creation. God is upset every single time we injure a child of God, including ourselves. But God is upset because God loves. I think God, unlike any other being in the universe, can be furious at the hurt that you cause and yet still love you perfectly. And that's, I think, what differentiates divine anger from ours. It's only ever, forever for our good. In fact, that's the holiness of God. It's what sets God apart from our failing and flailing frustrations in the world. It's why I think we need to hold on to James' words as tightly as we can. Our anger alone will never produce the righteousness God is looking for in us. And so for those moments when you find yourselves angry, when there's something in your life that you absolutely should be upset about, injustice or cruelty, a lack of compassion or kindness, then try to ask yourself this question: how can my anger be more precise at what is actually broken so that my love can be more expansive for everyone around me? As an example here, my daughter, who is 3, has this nasty habit of starting apples and then leaving them around the house half-eaten, right? Last week in one day, we found 6 half-eaten apples stashed in different rooms of our home. And that made me angry because I don't want to waste food and I don't want fruit flies and I want my daughter to learn the value and the gift of all the food that's available to us in our house. But I would never confuse my frustration with wasted apples with my love for my daughter. And if I can do that with my children, then how much more would my parent in heaven be able to separate my sin from my identity as a beloved child? So yes, we have abandoned the idea of an angry, violent God so that we can embrace the God whose anger is even for our good. Hey, thanks for making it through to the end of that. If you're interested in what we're doing here at Commons, then give us a subscribe, a like, all of that stuff. And by all means, post a comment and we'll continue the discussion there. You can also join our Discord for the ongoing dialogue here in our community. Anyway, have a great week. We'll see you soon.